I'm Nicholas Torres. You're at True Laurel, San Francisco. We are a cocktail bar and restaurant. We strive to work closely with our seasons and our local produce, and in turn work closely with the farmers that produce them. We're a safe space. We play good music, make good food, and really good drinks. For me personally, this was one of my first partnerships. I've opened many spaces and worked with different designers at times and with different characters. I came from an art background. It was my first passion. It was creating things, and I've been bartending for almost as long. And bartending was the job that slowly paid me more. It's hard to make art in San Francisco, though a wonderful place to do it. So it was really important to me to create something that was close to us and really an expression of what we thought was a comfortable space and original. So it was a daunting task, but we invested a real long time and a lot of money into our own personal design. And really in True Laurel, there's not one bought product. Almost everything is custom. We thought about every detail and how it pertains to the flow of service and to the comfort of our guests. From consumers, well, people are still going crazy about mezcal. There's some really good marketing behind it, and there's a lot of issues with the production of mezcal as well. It's a funny thing. I mean, I've overheard guests not unknowingly drinking a peated whiskey drink and sensing the smoke and being like, oh, it must be mezcal. The smoke element of mezcal is now the new smoky spirit on the shelf. There's no other one that exists, people, it seems, even though peated whiskeys have been around for a very long time, and other smoke spirits, actually. So mezcal is definitely growing. Product, well, being a cocktail bar, there's so many different elements that go into our drinks. So when we opened, we wanted to stay committed to the produce that we use in our drinks to form those drinks. So a lot of the way we design our drinks actually starts at the farmer's market. It starts with talking to our farmers. It starts with tasting things, listening to them and having them influence you, actually, because that's what we really want to celebrate. But I realize that it's just as important, really, to celebrate the spirits that are going into it, too. And so for me, in sourcing spirits and wines, I look for, to me, value in these things is when they have expression of what they come from, the organic material that they come from. And that often gets lost in the marketing and just our overall approach of understanding spirits. I like young whiskeys. I like things that taste like actual cereal grain instead of just barrel. And I like my wines to be natural and, just looking for spirits and wines and liqueurs that really go back to the essence of what they were, the organic material they came from. For me, I think you have to go out, obviously. If you have to partake in whether you're doing art, whether you're playing sports, if you're in the service industry and you have a belief in hospitality, you have to go out and be part of it and witness hospitality. Not everybody treats it the same way. We definitely don't. At True Laurel is the same as maybe the bar down the street or the restaurant down the street, but we have our own approach. And hospitality isn't just about open palm service or tableside pouring of sauces. It's about creating an environment and holding up to that environment that you want to create and making sure everybody feels relaxed and comfortable. First off, I never use the term zero waste. And there are some people in the industry doing some really badass things, and really driving the force of the anti-waste movements, and they're some of the most inspiring characters that I've come across, and they've actually motivated me to look at our waste here. But True Laurel creates waste. And even the bars that I'm talking about, or even some of the characters, they're creating waste. It's impossible to not have waste. So I don't like to use the term zero waste, just to be clear. But in San Francisco, we're lucky enough actually to have a very progressive system already in place, just with waste management in itself. You go to other cities and there's not bars that have compost, recycling, and waste receptacles behind their bars. And so we have strategy behind that to make sure we utilize those separating systems. We have compost, we have recycling, we have our waste bins, which we hope to use the least. But we take many steps. We have really good water here in San Francisco, so we carbonate all our water in-house. We don't want to ship water across states and create a bigger carbon footprint just to have bubbly water in a bottle easier, right at our reach. We can do that ourselves. All of the energy that supplies our lights and our gas is coming from renewable sources, and that is something that's accessible to everybody in San Francisco. You just have to sign up for it and actually maybe pay a little bit more, but we think it's important. I'm spacing out, I think it's called Green Power SF, but I might need to overdub that in somewhere else. And beyond that, in our cocktail program, we just try to get the most out of our produce. And it actually tends to lead to some really creative outlets. When you start looking at the apple instead of just the fruit around it, but you start looking at the branch it came from and the leaves and the roots, and really, maybe apple's a bad example, but when you start looking at the whole body of the fruit and realize that you can use a lot of it, you get more out of it. So we use a lot of stuff that might be trimmed from the kitchen. The kitchen uses stuff that might be byproduct of some of the things we use. Like, for example, we make a pistachio orgeat. The candid pistachios would then go into our beet tartare. Yeah, here at True, we rarely have. I'm trying to think. I'm not sure if there's a cocktail on the menu that doesn't have wine in it. It's a very classic formula, actually, if you think about it. There's our ice cream man, Paletas. If you look at a lot of old formulas, you often have your sweeteners, which come in the form of a fortified wine, an aromatized wine. It's not unheard of for wine to play a big part in cocktails. Some of your oldest cocktails from your sherry cobbler. And with the movement, honestly, of natural wine, it's kind of amazing how popular it's becoming. San Francisco came a little late, but it's cool how open people are to different expressions of wine. And I drink wine personally. That's what I like to drink when I get off work. And I love creating cocktails, but I feel like the wine always brings me a little bit closer to earth. It balances out your drinks. It brings some good acid. It can bring aromatics. There's really no reason. I rarely build drinks that don't have a touch of wine in them. There's a lot of misinformation maybe out there with healthy spirits. We know that drinking is not good for us if done too much. It's obviously good on a social realm. It's good for our spirits. It's good for our stress at times. But the overconsumption of alcohol is damaging to our bodies. With that being said, I would really like to believe that if we start focusing closer on what's going into our spirits, that we could be drinking better. We do it with food. In progressive areas, at least. I mean, we're going to the farmer's market. We believe that eating organic, eating local, leads to a healthier lifestyle. If you think about the natural wine movement, we're starting to say, look, I don't want there to be chemicals in my wine. I don't want there to be stabilizers. For some reason, there's a disconnect in spirits. And I think a lot of it comes from marketing. I think a lot of it comes from the fact that it's another step in the process. There's downtime. And depending on your organic material, there could be a lot of downtime. Whiskey is a great example. Beer is a great example. Beer can be made from grains that get awakened after being dormant for years. We don't know where these grains come from half the time. So transparency is becoming a big thing in the industry, and it's a great thing. Sustainability is becoming a great thing in the industry. It's a great thing. A lot of times now, whiskey producers will tell you about their mash bill. They'll tell you the barrels it sat in. They'll tell you almost everything. And then if you're like, where did you source your corn? They'll either say they don't know or they don't want to tell you. Because half the time it's GMO corn. It's the same corn that's going into the production of still ethanol, to cattle feed, to making byproducts of citric acid, to all different types of stuff, stabilizers that go into our food. I think if we're, as people are starting to think about what we're drinking and what we're eating more, we should also be doing it with spirits. And if we can start pushing and asking the people that produce it to source better, then I think we will be drinking better. Yeah, we do have some organic, certified organic spirits on our back bar. Certification is another issue, and it really depends on where you're coming from and your access to it. And the laws are different actually everywhere to get that certification. But what we look for in a lot of our producers is the fact that they're working closely with the land, they're working closely with the stuff they're growing, or they're working closely with their farmers, so they have access and they can tell you. We have a lot of spirits on our back shelf that are sustainably grown and produced, but aren't certified. I mean, I think we could be a lot better on Instagram. But social media is such a big part of the cocktail world these days. And beyond just bars self-promoting themselves, the access people have to recipe development, to the history, to lessons on how to become a sommelier, to become, a cicerone. Like, you can do all this stuff online. So the social media presence is, we can't separate ourselves anymore. And it keeps people coming back. It's very important. I have a PR person that helps me orchestrate when and the timing of when we should upload photos. We did not have that in the beginning, and it was pretty much me on my phone with my crappy camera taking stories that I wanted to and posting when I wanted to. I felt it was very organic, and I think that some people could sense that, but at the end of the day, it is good to get your vibe and pictures out to more than just the people that have been here. Like, other people need to be able to see it. My general manager, Anthony, takes amazing photos. He's a photographer part-time, so he actually loves taking photos of our cocktails, of our food. So we have someone in-house that already loves to do it, and then we have people that can help me post it. Bars are a safe space. They're supposed to be. The old pub mentality of getting off of work and going to a place where you feel comfortable is really important to a lot of people. So for me, it was really just about staying true to myself, as cheesy as that sounds. I didn't really want to look at trends outside of what was going on. I'm 37. I've been going out to bars for a lot. I know what friends of mine I think make cool bars, and I have my own opinion and stuff. And it's really important for me to create an original experience, but to create a true experience. And that was just keeping close to my heart and the production of this, and letting my staff know that that's a part of it, and hiring staff that feels the same. We have a really passionate team here, and I think we have a relaxed environment. And so when we're all getting along, that's when people really feel the experience, when we're all flowing together. I think you need to go against, well, there's a few things. I think you need to not just look for the best resume. Really depends on the market you're in. But as we know, the cocktail culture, the restaurant culture is still growing in a lot of the cities that we're speaking to right now. A lot of the markets are saturated. There's more restaurants, there's more bars than you may say there is talent. But I think what that means to us as leaders is that we need to not just expect the best resumes to come in, expect the best talent to come in. We need to step back and invest time into training. And you also need to be open to purposefully choosing and diversifying your team in a way that you may not have in the past. You're gonna meet new people, you're gonna meet new experiences, and you're gonna learn new things. I learn from my staff all the time. So you have to be open to learning from your staff and helping them grow at the same time. No, it's a very, it happens, it's kind of hard for it not to happen. But I was very proud of myself in the creation of this bar when we first opened, because I didn't poach anyone, except for one maybe. But she was not happy where she was. But I was also, I think, in a lucky position. We had a lot of momentum coming into True Laurel. And so a lot of people were anticipating the opening. They kind of known the geeky stuff we were doing at Lazy Bear. And, you know, ultimately, I think bartenders these days and everyone front of house, they want to be in places where they can learn a lot. You know, and so knowing that we were investing time into our drinks that maybe some other places weren't, I think to a lot of people it seemed like a place of fun, but also education. So I'm making the second summer, so the classic pairing of bourbon and peach. I'm Nicholas Torres. Thanks for joining us at True Laurel and for going to barbusiness.com.